Welcome to Destination Wedding Planning Made Easy, where your team at Destination Weddings Expert talks about all things weddings. Join us as we talk about tips, tricks, and those all too easy pitfalls to avoid when planning your big day. Okay, welcome back to Destination Wedding Planning Made Easy. I am your host, Mario Lopez, and this is the team from Destination Weddings Expert. Say hello to Nikki Sanders and Prissi Powell. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so today we are talking about, I think, a super interesting topic and an important topic as you're selecting your resorts. So this is going to be a big topic on how you start narrowing things down, which resort is correct for you and for your group, for your needs, for your tradition, for your, whatever it is, which place is going to be the right place to go for you. And so this week's topic is going to be about the destination wedding package and selecting the right one. Now, we've spoken in the past in older episodes on the free package. That's not necessarily what we're talking here. Here, we're talking about the actual wedding package, however we want to structure it, however it's being presented to you, and some things to consider to make sure that you're going down the right path when you're selecting your resort and you're looking at which wedding package is correct for you, right? So I think the most important lesson that we can just kind of summarize the entire episode with is not every wedding package is created equal, right? There's a lot of different things that need to be considered. There's a lot of things that you should be looking for. I think when we were preparing for this episode, I think one of the more interesting things that we, kind of identified is it's not about what is included in the package. It's what isn't included in the package. And so you need to make sure that you're working with someone that's advocating for you, that's looking out for you and your needs and your budget, and and any of the anything that you specifically said that you wanted included, you want that person to be watching out for you. And the way to do that is to be working with kind of a independent travel advisor that's not working for a hotel. When you're a wedding planner and you're working for so and so ABC property, of course you're going to say that your wedding package is the absolute best because that's all you've got to work with.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you have. What's that?
That's your job. You're paid to say that your package is the best.
Absolutely. And so it's they're going to do whatever they can to sell you on the fact that that's the correct package to move forward with, and you're good to go from there. And then you get down the planning process and you find out you can't get half the things that you wanted, or there were things that weren't included in the package that all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, I guess I've been paying for that for
people need to sit.
The people need to sit. So a great example. We won't name names on properties, but there is one out there at least that has a wedding package, and I think it's like, I can't remember, it's like 32 people that are included in the wedding package, whatnot. And of course, every package has its passenger limit, right, or guest limit. But this one in particular says that it includes 32 guests. What they doesn't say is that it doesn't include seating for the reception. So yes, you have 32 chairs at your ceremony and everyone has a great time watching you get married, and it's phenomenal. You go to the cocktail hour, and cocktail hour usually doesn't include any sort of seating. Sometimes you do some furniture and stuff there for the older guests and things like that. But then you go to the reception and there's no seating at the reception. So you're automatically, without even, any kind of decor or floral, adding seats to your reception to make sure that you are covered for your guests. So
and how much are chairs?
It ranges. I mean, it can range. It could be, $5 a chair. It could be $30 a chair. It depends on where you're at, which chair you're choosing. That's how elaborate you want it to get. They will get you whatever seating that you want, but it adds up.
Yeah.
I think that's always just kind of an interesting one, is what is included and what isn't included. Nikki, you brought up a great point when we were talking about this, about not getting distracted by the inconsequential things that are on a wedding package. Give me some examples of things that yeah, great, awesome, thank you for including
it. Well, the one that is most annoying to me when they promise the wedding couples complimentary upgrades. Asterisks based on availability at time of check-in from this one room category to that one, a certain amount of dates. No one ever gets them. If you see them in your wedding contract, just ignore that. Book the room you want. Have your guests book the room that you want. If you know you must have an ocean view, do not go with less.
Yep.
Because those little upgrades or little things like, oh, but the next day they have breakfast and they serve us breakfast in bed and we get a massage. Okay, we can book that for you. Don't choose it because of that. You might leave something more valuable on the table with another package rather than selecting things that in the scheme are small.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's, you know, I think one thing that Prissi and I always do when I do this on my consult, and I do it when I'm going over the quotes for the different properties that we're looking at, is whenever that complimentary upgrade gets tossed in there, I always say, do not tell anyone they're getting an upgrade. That what we don't want them doing is arriving to the hotel knowing that they booked the tropical view room and they're thinking they're getting an oceanfront room, and then they don't get it because the upgrade didn't happen, right? Now we've got a disappointing guest, and there was no reason for them to be disappointed.
And if you tell them ahead of time, they will not get it. It's like it's a jinx. It's a damn jinx.
You spoke it.
Darn,
It's not gonna happen.
jinx. Yeah, for real, don't tell them. And just ignore that part. Ignore that part. If someone gets upgraded, hooray.
I think a thing to definitely make note of with the upgrade, they are always capped. So if a resort has a VIP category, your upgrade is never to the penthouse. It's never to those preferred sections and things. The upgrade is usually middle of the road, not really an upgrade because most people are booking that or better anyway.
Yes.
So I think it's just fancy language to get, people excited.
It's filler. It's just filler. They're just putting stuff in there to make it look like you're getting more, but none of this really has a solid value. So ignore that.
My favorite one that I always see is the complimentary drink upon arrival. Almost every resort, I shouldn't say every resort, but almost every resort has someone sitting up there with a tray with a cocktail so that when you arrive,
for everybody.
It's for everyone. Yeah. It has nothing to do with the wedding.
It's a sparkling Bellini or something. Everyone gets it.
If it's even alcohol at all, some people give you like fancy juice, like
cucumber water, flavored water. Okay, that's fine. But you're going to an all-inclusive resort. You're going to get your drinks.
Yeah. It's little things like that. The ones that say they include the wedding coordinator. Really? So you're just going to let a wedding happen without anyone being assigned to it? Like that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So they like you said, Nikki, a lot of it is fluff. And so don't let yourself get distracted by those inconsequential things. Make sure you're looking at what is included and, more importantly, what is not included that you want.
Chairs need to be included.
Chairs need to be
at least most of them.
Yeah. I think we brought up a really good consideration when we were talking about this episode on its religious, spiritual, traditional needs, right? Look at the wedding package and see, first of all, is there a wedding package that is structured around your if you're doing a religious ceremony, is it structured around your religious beliefs? I know, our South Asian weddings that we've worked on, we really have to be very conscious about where we're putting those groups. First of all, there usually tend to be larger groups, right? Secondly, the property needs to be able to handle all of that, right? There are different parties, there's different, ceremonies, there's different pieces and elements of that celebration that you need to make sure the property not only can do, but understands what needs to be done. It's, because not all South Asian weddings are created equally, right? It's whether you're, Hindu or Muslim, or, there's a whole bunch of different categories underneath that you need to make sure that you have an educated staff who is able to accommodate, able to honor the traditions, and making sure that they're getting executed correctly. So those are really, really important things as we go that we want to make sure that we're considering when we're looking at a wedding package. On that same note, it's vendors. So I think one of the things that is really interesting about some of these wedding packages is, hey, photographer and videographer is included for the ceremony. Awesome. That's fantastic. If photography and videography is important to me and I want to make sure that that's, included in my ceremony as part of it, fantastic. But who is the vendor that's going to be executing that?
You don't want it to be me who came to work that day and the photographer was sick.
Here I am.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want it to be the entertainment director that was, doing the aerobics by the pool earlier, right? And now they're shooting your wedding. Like it's it needs to be someone who is going to deliver a quality product as well. So you want to make sure that you're working with someone, working with a planner who has worked with these properties before, has seen the final product of what gets produced by some of these vendors, and then to move forward from there. I can think of one fairly high-end property in Mexico that includes photography, and you do not want to book that photo company. I mean, even walking through their hallways, there's like a big vestibule for the photo company, and those photos are ugly.
And the feet get cut off.
And the feet get cut off, and it's
Talking about.
So different properties will have different lists of preferred outside vendors and what they will charge you to have them in your package. Will they remove something or substitute something else for a service you're not using? This is what they know. These guys right here.
It will almost be every property that will not substitute. That's one thing to keep in mind as well. If you have, a DJ included for your reception, you don't want a DJ, you want live music. Great, awesome. They're going to take the DJ off, but they're not going to credit you when you go switch over to live music. You're just going to pay full price for live music. That's something really important to consider. And I think that leads us into our next topic, Nikki, is, as we're talking about, we're working with our couples and we're talking about things that are important to them, we want to make sure we're identifying the things that we really need to focus on. Prissi, what are some of the things that maybe your couples have expressed to you are just absolute must hit, got to be out of the park?
Food is always one, but a lot of times they want to customize the celebration. They want, lighting, they want entertainment, they want a good time. So just being able to look at the packages and see, are these components in this package? Do we really need this package? I think one of the keys of working with us is we actually assist with the packages. A lot of agents don't. Nothing wrong with that. It's a lot, but having an agent who works with a lot of different companies, a lot of different packages, you have a better leg up to make sure you're being matched with a property that meets your end goal.
Absolutely. This episode is actually going to air after our episode with Tanya, one of our previous brides, who got married at Majestic Elegance. And one of the things that they came to us with is, I don't care about decor. I don't care. It's going to look great. We know it's going to look great. We will make sure it looks great. But our biggest thing is live music. We don't want a DJ. We want an amazing band. And so when we were looking at properties, that already narrowed us down into, we are only going to look at a certain number of properties because we know they can deliver on live music. We know they have great options. We landed on Majestic because Majestic, before we even had to ask for live music, in their link where they have all of their wedding inclusions, there was live music. Here's a bunch of bands. Here's the Instagram handles, so you can go take a look and see, if you like them or not. We can set you up with an interview to talk to them if you'd like to. And I think actually, I remember that. I think we actually talked to that band before we even signed Majestic's wedding contract. We want to make sure that was going to deliver on, a good party for everyone. So with those wedding packages, those are things that you want to consider. What is important to you? What is something that, I don't care. Maybe I don't care how the food is, although we're not talking about me, but it's, maybe I don't care how the food is, but I want the flowers to be just absolutely drop dead gorgeous, stunning. Okay. It's, there's going to be certain properties that are going to do that better than others.
And some properties the wedding departments have taken insight from the destination wedding professional planners, like, and the advisors. Some do not. Some take the feedback, like, this works for these packages. This works for our couples, and we love this part, but this doesn't work. What can we do with it? Some are benefiting themselves.
We've actually had some properties out there that we've worked with to help structure their wedding packages. When we get the opportunity to do that, it really is more of like a symbiotic relationship then at that point, right? Because we are speaking directly to these couples. We know what they're looking for. We know why we're steering away from that property or why we're gravitating towards that property, and what is going to help make sure, you know, what's going to be included in that wedding package that's going to help steer the client towards that property. And those are conversations I think they're really important for advisors to have with, you know, with the properties that they work with all the time. It's, you know, trying to perfect that package. Some of these things are not expensive to do. It's just having it in there, right?
Value added.
Value added. Exactly. And then of course, you know, when we come to wedding packages, again, it all kind of narrows down the wedding package to budget. And so what you really want to be looking at is, you know, we mentioned this in the free wedding package episode as well, but not even the free wedding packages, but even the regular wedding package, when we're looking at what the price is, it's when we're looking at that and we're trying to figure out what's not included in that package, you need to add on top of there. If there's only 32 people that are included in that wedding package, that's fine, but you've got 90 people coming to your wedding. What's the per person fee?
Mm-hmm.
Is it, you know, is it $110? Is it the top one in DR, Nikki, I can't remember their charge right now. It's like 375 or 350. Yeah, it's per person on top of, you know, that's
that, and that's on a hefty wedding package to be
yeah, that package isn't cheap anyways.
So this would be a thing like, okay, so now my guest count changed, my things changed. Can I downgrade my wedding package, or can I change my wedding package without a penalty?
And that brings up a good point too, Nikki. Is making sure that you're estimating your guest count right, because there are some properties out there that won't let you downgrade your package. You went with so-and-so package, this is top tier package because you thought you had 100 people coming. Too bad, so sad, you're stuck paying that amount. So which properties are going to work in the best interest of the couple and not their bottom line, right? It's very, very important. Ladies, anything to add to the good wedding package conversation? Anything that you want to cover that you want to make sure our couples know that they should be considering as they're looking at wedding packages and at properties?
I would just say don't get so. I think a lot of couples, they're either stuck on the cheapest package or the most expensive package. Most couples find themselves somewhere in the middle. So don't always look at what's cheapest. So this is based on how you're picking your resort or what's most expensive. Identify those needs, identify those key elements, and work with a planner who actually gets it so that you can find your sweet spot.
Absolutely. It's, you know, are you looking for a bridal suite? If a bridal suite, if you want to be with your girlies that morning and, you know, sipping your mimosas and getting ready and getting your hair and makeup done, is that included in your package, or is that something that's going to be an upcharge from there? These are all things that we need to consider when we're looking at.
Can that suite accommodate you and your 12 sisters? Like, because some of them are quite cozy. So you need to work with somebody who gets it.
And mom and auntie, and it's
And even for the grooms, some properties have spaces dedicated for them. So, you know, we don't want the guys to feel left out either.
I think, you know, that's an important conversation. The grooms, no one really ever thinks about where they're getting ready. And so are you doing it in your room? Because then you've got to make sure that your room is all cleaned up because we're taking photos in there. Are we going to the best man's room? I guarantee his room isn't going to be put together.
And what room is he booked in?
What category is he booked in? Yeah. And then also, you know, but there are some properties that have considered that have considered the groom. They already have, hey, the day of, we're going to give the groom a room and he's going to be able to go and, you know, set up with his guys and get all set to go. Super important detail. Again, these things that what is not included when you're looking at the wedding package. That's the important part about what you need to consider. And is it important to you? It's, if you don't care, if if you're a groom and, you know, you just want to put your suit on and meet up with everyone for a drink, you don't need a room. That's fine. Then we're not worried about that being included in the package. But if you want, you know, that's to be able to kind of sit down with the guys, take some good, you know, photos, you know, maybe have a cocktail or two while you're getting ready. Let's talk about, you know, what that adds on to a package when we're looking at it, right? Anyways, These are just, little small topics, little small things that you need to be thinking about as you're looking at resorts, as you're looking at wedding package, as you're considering whether to work with a travel advisor or not. These are things that are going to be really important to consider. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We really appreciate it as always, and we will see you next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us. Want to learn more or ready to schedule your complimentary consultation? Follow us on Instagram at Destination Weddings Expert or visit our website at destinationweddingsexpert.com.